Hello YouTube, my name's John, and today I'm going to show you how to install Wrath of Cronos, the mod for Hexen, Doom, Heretic, and Strife. Ever since I started creating videos about this mod, I've been getting comments, I've been getting messages in my inbox asking me how the hell do you get this mod to work. So I figured I'd create a video tutorial to show you the step-by-step instructions I take in order to get the mod running with all of its compatible games, because I happen to own all of them. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and before I get started, there's a couple things I'd like to mention. Number one, my computer is using Windows 7, so this tutorial will be assuming that you're at least using that version of Windows, although the instructions should also work with Windows Vista or Windows XP or any previous version of Windows. As far as Windows 8, I don't have enough experience with that operating system to really know if these instructions will work, so I can't guarantee it'll work for that. If you're using a Macintosh computer, I know generally how to get the mod to work, but of course I won't be showing it on screen here because I don't own a Mac, but if you send me a message or write in the comments, I should be able to point you in the right direction. If you're using Linux, then I really don't know at all how to use Linux, unfortunately, so I'm afraid I can't help you there. Another thing I'd like to mention, if you look in the description below this video, you should see links and timestamps, so if you want to hop ahead in the tutorial, let's say you're trying to figure out how to get the mod to work with Doom. Well, if you look in the description, there should be a link there, so you can just jump straight to that portion of the tutorial, or any of the sections that you want. They should all be listed right there with timestamps provided. You should also see in the description links to various websites that you need to go to in order to download the mod, or the source port/engine required to run the mod. Basically, everything you need to know, all the materials you need, should be in the description. The only thing you won't see down there is the games themselves, basically. So I'm going to assume you own at least one of these games, whether it be through Steam or perhaps you have the disc version of one of them. So if you don't happen to have any of these games, check out Steam. You should be able to find most of them there. Anyway, so there you go. I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and the first game I'm going to show you how to run the mod with is Hexen. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to install Wrath of Cronos with Hexen. This is probably the easiest way to get the mod running. It requires the least amount of steps, it's pretty straightforward and streamlined, and I actually think Wrath of Cronos is the most fun with Hexen. There's lots of new features that aren't present in the other versions of the mod, and again, it's just really simple and straightforward. You don't really need that much. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is my hard drive, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder on my hard drive. So how I do that is I right-click, go to New, and Folder, and I'm going to name that folder Wrath of Cronos. Really, you can name that folder whatever you want, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to call it Wrath of Cronos. Now then, the next step is to get the Hexen IWAD. Basically, this is the core file of Hexen. It's the most important file in the history of Hexendom. It is the central and key file you need to run Hexen with anything, whether it be the original vanilla game, running Hexen with a source port, or especially, for our purposes, running Hexen with Wrath of Cronos. It is the only file you need from Hexen in order to get the mod working. And this file is called hexen.wad. If you have the disk version of Hexen, you should be able to find this file right onto the disk. If you happen to install the game from a disk, you should be able to find it in your Hexen folder. Or if you bought Hexen off of Steam, you should be able to find it in that folder as well. It should be in your Steam folder under Steam Apps and then Common, and then there should be a Hexen folder in there. If you have trouble finding it if you bought it off Steam, just write in the comments below. I should be able to point you in the right direction. Or, if all else, you can also run a search on your computer for hexen.wad, and it should be able to pull up the file for you. As for me, I have a Hexen folder right here, and I can find the file right here. Here it is right now, hexen.wad. This is the file you're looking for, hexen.wad. So I'm going to right-click on the file. I'm going to click on Copy. And I'm going to go back, go to my Wrath of Cronos folder. I'm going to right-click, click on Paste. And there we go. Now we have the Hexen IWAD in our Wrath of Cronos folder. So, we have Hexen, we have a new folder. The next step we need is to download GZDoom. This is a source port. It's essentially the engine that will get Wrath of Cronos running. So I actually already have the website pulled up here. And again, if you go in the description below, you should see the website listed there that you need to go to for GZDoom. You can also run a Google search. It should be the first thing that pops up. So we go to the downloads section that I have pulled up here. This is the most recent version of this as of this recording. So we're going to right click on this link here, go to Save As, and the download's already actually set to my Wrath of Cronos folder. You probably will need to find the Wrath of Cronos folder through this save as process. But anyway, it's already pulled up for me on my hard drive. So I'm going to click save, and I'm going to save this zip file into the Wrath of Cronos folder that I already created. Now this file is about 2.8 megabytes large, so it may take a few seconds or a couple minutes depending on your internet connection. It's already done for me, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up this file. Now then, this is the file we just downloaded. It is gzdoom. These are all the files contained in the zip file we just got. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these files and we're going to move them into the Wrath of Cronos folder. And there we go. It looks like it's already done. So there we go. Now we have gzdoom and hexen.wad in our Wrath of Cronos folder. Now the next step is to download the mod files themselves. So I'm going to pull up the website that I already have. This is the Xandronum forums. This is one of two places as of this recording that this mod is hosted at. This is the one I prefer because it seems to be updated more frequently as far as I can tell. So the very first post on this page, and again, if you go to the description below in this video, you should see a link to this particular website. You'll notice that on the very first post here, they have all these links here. These are all the files for Wrath of Cronos and its various compatible games. So if we're trying to run the mod with Hexen, the only file we need is right here. You'll see it says Get Wrath of Cronos 1.6c. That's the most recent version as of this recording. So yeah, all we need for Hexen is this file. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to this link. We're going to right click, Save Link As. And there we go. This is our Wrath of Cronos folder, as you can see. And here's our file that we're downloading, Wrath of Cronos R1_6c.pk3. We're going to save this file into our Wrath of Cronos folder. So there we go. That's downloaded. We'll go back to our Wrath of Cronos folder. So now we have Wrath of Cronos, the file that we need for the mod. We have the Hexen IWAD, and we have gzdoom. So now we have everything we need to run Wrath of Cronos with Hexen. The next step I like to take to make it easier is to create a batch file in order to run the mod. Basically, a batch file in layman's terms is a file on your computer that tells your computer to run a certain program with certain parameters. And how to create one is fairly straightforward, and I'll show you how to do that pretty easily. I'll make it easy for you. So you right-click on your Wrath of Cronos folder, go to New, while you're inside the Wrath of Cronos folder, go to New, go to Text Document. So now we have a new text document in there. Let's call it Wrath of Cronos Hexen. Doesn't have to be capitalized. I mean, again, you can name this text file whatever the hell you want. Doesn't really matter. But for demonstration purposes, Wrath of Cronos Hexen.txt. So I'm going to open up this text file. Here we go. Now, again, I'm going to make this easy on you, so all you got to do is type in what you're about to see. So you're going to type gzdoom space dash file Wrath of Cronos R1_6c.pk3 space dash IWAD space hexen.wad. So there you go. So basically what we're doing here is we're telling gzdoom to load Hexen with Wrath of Cronos. Now this is now the reason we typed in this particular section here is because, well, what we're doing is we're telling this program, gzdoom, to load these two files. So one of those files is this one, as you can see here, and the other one is this one. So this is kind of a weird long file name, and it's easy to mistype this. So one thing you can do is you can right-click on it, go to Rename, hold down the Control key on your keyboard, and press C. So now we've copied that name there. Go back to your text file. Let's just say this wasn't here. So let's just delete all that. So what you do is you hold down, now that you've copied it, you hold down Control and press V. And there you go. See, it just pastes that file name right there, so you don't have to mistype anything. Just make sure you add .pk3. So there you go. Now we have all this typed in. That's all good. So you go to File, Save As. Now down here, you notice how it says txt. What we're going to do is we're going to delete that txt and call it bat instead. Then you click Save. And there you go. Notice that there's a new file in our folder now, Wrath of Cronos Hexen.bat. We can go ahead and delete this. Let me go ahead and close this out real quick and delete that. So now we have this batch file in our Wrath of Cronos folder. If you launch that batch file, either by double-clicking it or pressing Enter on it, that will launch gzdoom with Hexen with Wrath of Cronos. So basically, all you have to do, and you can even create a shortcut to this file on your desktop or your games folder, wherever that may be, and just by launching this file, you're in Hexen with Wrath of Cronos. So it makes it really simple. All you got to do once this is set up is just launch this and you're in the game. So there you go. That's how you run Wrath of Cronos with Hexen. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to install Wrath of Cronos with Doom. Now keep in mind that Wrath of Cronos works with all versions of Doom, except for Doom 3. So that means it runs with Doom 1, Doom 2, and both of the final Doom mods. So I'm going to show you how to run Wrath of Cronos with all of those. So let's start with Doom 2. I think that's a good place to start. So again, the first step I like to take, this is my hard drive here. I'm going to create a new folder on my hard drive. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to New and Folder. I'm going to call this folder Wrath of Cronos. You can call that folder whatever you want, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to call it Wrath of Cronos. Now then, the next thing we need is the Doom 2 iWAD, if we're going to run the mod with Doom 2. The Doom 2 iWAD is the core file for Doom 2. It is the most important file in the history of Doom 2. It is the central key file you need in order to run Doom 2 with anything, including the vanilla Doom 2, running Doom 2 with a source port, or running Doom 2 with a mod, such as this one. And that file is called doom2, the number 2, .wad. So doom2, all one word, .wad. If you have the disk version of Doom 2, you should be able to find that file right on your disk. If you install Doom 2 on your hard drive through a disk, you should find it in your Doom 2 folder. Or if you bought Doom 2 off of Steam, you should be able to find it in the Steam folder on your hard drive. It should be under Steam, and then Steam Apps, and then Common, and then there should be a Doom 2 folder in there. If you bought Doom 2 off of Steam and you're having trouble finding this file, just write in the comments. I should be able to help you out, or send me a message. Anyway, I have a Doom 2 folder right here. So this is where I'll find my file. And here it is, doom2.wad. All one word, as you can see here. Doom, the number 2.wad. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on this file, click on Copy. We're going to go back, go to our Wrath of Cronos folder, right-click, click Paste. And there you go. Now we have the Doom 2 WAD in our Wrath of Cronos folder. So the next step is to download GZDoom. This is a source port. It's essentially the engine that's going to run Wrath of Cronos with Doom 2. Now I already conveniently have this web page that you download GZDoom pulled up right here. And again, if you go in the description, you should see links to this website and really any of the websites that we're going to be looking at. You should be able to find links to them in the description below. So this is the GZDoom website. We're in the downloads section. And as you can see here, here's a link to the most recent version of GZDoom as of this recording. It's version 1.8.02. So we're going to right-click on this link here, and then click Save As, Save Link As, and we're going to save it into our Wrath of Cronos folder, just for the sake of it. This is a zip file, as you can see here, so let's save that into the Wrath of Cronos folder. Now this file is about 2.8 megabytes large, so that might take a few seconds for you, or a few minutes, depending on what your internet speed is. Anyway, now it's done, so what I'm going to do is here's our Wrath of Cronos folder. Here's the file we just downloaded. Let's open that up. Well, here's a better way we could do that. I'm going to open it here so it's a separate folder. So we're going to take all the contents of this zip file we just downloaded. We're going to take all these files here, and we're going to drop them into our Wrath of Cronos folder. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and close out this. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this since we don't need it anymore. So there we go. Now we have GZDoom and the Doom 2 iWAD. So the next step is to download the core files for the mod itself, for Wrath of Cronos. And again, I already have the website pulled up here. This is the Xandronum forums, the post for Wrath of Cronos. This is one of two places where the mod's currently hosted. So this is the place I prefer to go to. As you can see, this top post here has all the core files you need to run Wrath of Cronos with its various compatible games. So, and this is where I tend to go to check in and see if there's a new version. As of this recording, it's version 1.6c. Anyway, so, you'll notice here all these links, like I mentioned before. This first one here, it says Get Wrath of Cronos 1.6c here. We'll definitely need that file, so let's go ahead and right-click on this link, Save Link As, and save it into our Wrath of Cronos folder. There we go. It's Wrath of Cronos R1_6c.pk3. Let's save that file in the Wrath of Cronos folder. So there we go. That's downloading. Now, since we're running the game with Doom, we need two additional files in order to get the mod working properly. You'll notice here there's a file called Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch, and there's also a file called Wrath of Cronos Doom patch. We're going to need both of those in order to get the mod working properly with Doom. So let's go ahead and download this one. Right-click, Save Link As. It's the Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch.pk3. We're going to save that into our folder, Wrath of Cronos folder. Here's the Doom patch. Let's right-click on that, Save Link As. Give it a moment here. There we go. Wrath of Cronos Doom patch 1_6b.pk3. Again, that's the most recent version of it. I'm going to go ahead and save that into the Wrath of Cronos folder. So there we go. Now we have those 3 files. If we go back to our Wrath of Cronos folder, we have all 3 of these new files in there. So now we have GZ Doom, we have Doom 2, and all the files we need for Wrath of Cronos to get the mod running properly. Now the next step, the final step to get the mod to work, since we have all the files we need, is what I like to do is create a batch file. Create a batch file in layman's terms, essentially, it tells your computer to run a program with certain parameters. You don't need to understand too much. I'm going to make it really simple for you. So here, let me show you what you got to do. So we're in the Wrath of Cronos folder. You right click, go to New, and go to Text Document. So there we go. Let's call this text document Wrath of Cronos Doom 2. Why not? Alright, so now we have this new text document. Let's open it up. Now again, I'm going to make this real simple. So just all you got to do is type in the following. gzdoom space dash file Wrath of Cronos r1_6c.pk3 space Wrath of Cronos. Now what we're doing, just so you see right off the bat, we're basically typing in the file names for these 3 files we just downloaded. We can make this a little bit simpler. What we can do is we can right click on it, go to rename, hold down Control, press C. Let's just go ahead and do it like this. So now hold down Control and press V now that we've copied the file name, and there you go. So you can just paste the file name right in there. Now again, what you're doing, let's click on this one, right click, rename, hold down Control, press C. Now we've copied that file name, go back to your text document, hold down Control, press V, and there you go. See? You don't have to type in that long file name. You can just have it done for you by copying and pasting. So again, what we're doing is we're telling gzdoom to load these 3 files, the 3 files we just downloaded here. And again, make sure you always add .pk3 at the end of it. Now, we have all those 3 in. Now we type space dash iwad space doom2.wad. So again, just to recap, we have this new text document open. We typed in gzdoom, so that's the program we're going to run. We're telling gzdoom to run Doom 2, and we're telling gzdoom to, while loading Doom 2, to also load these 3 files. Wrath of Cronos R1_6c, Wrath of Cronos the not Hexen patch, and Wrath of Cronos the Doom patch. So once we have all of that typed in, we go to File, go to Save As. Now here we are. Now notice that this says .txt on the bottom here, like in this section here. So what you want to do is delete txt and type in BAT. And then you click Save. Now notice that a new file has appeared in our folder. So let's close this out. We can actually even delete this text file now. So now you'll notice there's a Wrath of Cronos Doom 2.bat file in our folder now. If we launch this file by either double-clicking on it or pressing Enter, that will launch gzdoom with Doom 2 with Wrath of Cronos. So essentially, all you got to do is run this file, and you're in Doom 2 with Wrath of Cronos loaded. It's just that easy. So that's all you got to do. You can just, and if you made a mistake, maybe you mistyped one of these files here, what you can do is you can right-click on this batch file, click on Edit, and there you go. You can, let's say like I accidentally typed in something wrong here. Oops, I accidentally mistyped that not Hexen patch. Well, let me just go back. Again, we'll do rename, hold down Control, press C. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all this because I mistyped it. .pk3. Oops, let me delete that. So there you go. You can always make changes. So in case something didn't work, you can always go back, right-click on the batch file, and edit it like as if it's a notepad. Just make sure you click Save if you make any changes. So there you go. That's all you got to do. That's how you run Wrath of Cronos with Doom 2. But wait, how do we run Wrath of Cronos with Doom 1? Let's say we want to run Wrath of Cronos with Doom 1 or even Final Doom. Well, let's keep the same folder that we already did, so we already got that set up. So if you want to run Wrath of Cronos with Doom 1, you'll need the Doom 1 iWAD. Much like we got the Doom 2 iWAD here, you're going to need the Doom 1 iWAD. Again, it's the core file for Doom 1, and it's called doom.wad. It's the same as this, except without the number 2. So doom.wad. And again, if you have the disk version, you should be able to find it right on the disk. If you have it on Steam, you should be able to find it in the Steam folder. Same method, same situation there. And again, you can always run a search on your computer for either of these iWADs. You can run a search on your computer for doom2.wad, or you can run a search for doom.wad, because that's the file you need to run it with Doom 1. So I already have it here in my Doom 2 folder. right here, doom.wad. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to right click on it, copy, go back to the Wrath of Cronos folder, right click, paste. So now we have doom2.wad and doom.wad. You don't need this one in the folder to run it with doom1, but let's just say we have both of these files in there. So we already have this batch file here, right? Well, let's go ahead and right click on it, drag it over here. We're going to let go of the right mouse button, click copy. So now we've made a copy of that batch file we already created. Let's go ahead and rename it. Let's delete, copy, and let's just say Wrath of Cronos doom.bat. So now we have two batch files. Now we right click on this, click on edit. Now the only thing you have to do, since we already have all that's typed in, we don't want to retype it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, see where it says doom2.wad? Let's just delete that 2. So now it's telling it to load the doom1 iwad. See, it says -iwad doom.wad. So let's go ahead and save that. And there you go. So now we have two separate batch files. If we run this one, we'll run Doom 2 with Wrath of Cronos. And if we run this one, we'll run Doom 1 with Wrath of Cronos. As long as this file is in here and this file is in here, you can have these two separate batch files. And this one will run Doom 2 and this one will run Doom 1. It's just that easy. So that way you don't have to type in a bunch of new stuff. You don't have to drag and drop anything. You just have these two batch files sitting here, ready to go whenever you want to play it. If you get bored of Doom 1, load up Doom 2. You got them all right there. But again, what about Final Doom? Well, you can definitely do it the same way. Okay, so let's go back. Now, for Final Doom, there are two files for Final Doom, as you may remember. There's the Plutonia experiment, and there's Evolution. So the two files you need for that, one of them's called plutonia.wad, and the other one's called tnt.wad. And once again, if you have the disk version, if you have it on Steam, you should be able to find all those files in those respective places, whether it be on the disk or in your Steam folder. You should be able to find tnt.wad and plutonia.wad right in there. So I have mine in this Doom 2 folder. So again, we're looking for plutonia.wad. Here's that one. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Right click, click on copy, go to Wrath of Cronos. We're going to paste that there. Let's go ahead and go back. And we also need tnt.wad. That's the other one. That would be right here. tnt.wad. Right click, copy. Wrath of Cronos. Right click, paste. So now we have TNT and Plutonia. Those are the two Final Doom wads in our Wrath of Cronos folder. So let's do the same thing that we did before. Let's take this batch file. Let's right click on it. Drag. Let go of right mouse. Click on copy here. So now we've made another copy of a batch file. Let's delete this. Let's call it Final Doom TNT. Why not? So we right click on this new batch file. And again, we already have this typed in, so we don't have to type in anything. All we got to do is delete doom.wad and change it to tnt.wad. So again, now this says iwad tnt.wad. Now let's save that. Boom! Now we have a batch file for Final Doom. But what about the other one? We want to run it with Plutonia as well, perhaps. So, right click, copy. Let's make another copy of that batch file like we just did. Delete this. Let's call it Plutonia. Edit that one. Change tnt.wad to plutonia.wad. Save that. So again, now it says iwad plutonia.wad. And there you go. Now we have 4 separate batch files. We can run Doom 1, we can run Doom 2, we can run Evolution, we can run Plutonium. We got all 4, so we have all of these iWads in this folder. And as long as we have these 3 core files, and as long as we have these files in there, we can use these batch files here and run any of those versions of Doom with Wrath of Cronos. We got Doom 1, Doom 2, Final Doom. We can run all of them. So, and again, it's nice and convenient. We have all these batch files here. All you got to do is just launch the one you want to play, and you're in the game with Wrath of Cronos. So there you go. That's how you run Wrath of Cronos with Doom. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to install Wrath of Cronos with Heretic. It's a very similar process of how to get the game running with Doom, but just in case you didn't watch that portion of the video, I'm just going to start from scratch, just follow the step-by-step instructions, as if you haven't even seen that section. So we're just going to start just fresh, brand new. So anyway, and also, of course, I'm assuming you already own a copy of Heretic, whether it be through Steam or maybe you have the old disc versions of the game. Either way should work just fine. So anyway, first step I'm going to do, this is my hard drive here. I'm going to create a new folder on my hard drive. So I'm going to right-click, go to New, and Folder. I'm going to call that folder Wrath of Cronos. You can call that folder whatever you want, doesn't really matter. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to call it Wrath of Cronos. So there we go, now we have a new folder on our hard drive. Now, in order to run Wrath of Cronos with Heretic, you're going to need the Heretic IWAD file. This is the most important file in all of Heretic. It is the core file of Heretic. It is what's required to run Heretic, just plain vanilla DOSBox version. It's what's required to run Heretic with a source port or running Heretic with any sort of mod, including Wrath of Cronos. So that file is called heretic.wad. Just heretic.wad. If you have the disk version of Heretic, you should be able to find it right on the disk. If you've installed it through the disk onto your hard drive, it should be in your Heretic folder. Or if you bought Heretic off of Steam, you should be able to find it in your Steam folder on your hard drive. It should be under Steam Apps, and then Common, and then there should be a Heretic folder in there. You should be able to find the file right in there. Or you can always run a search on your computer to try to find the file heretic.wad. It should come right up. Anyway, I have the file in my Hexen folder, actually. So I'm going to show you what you're looking for. Here it is right here, heretic.wad. This is the IWAD for Heretic. This is the file we need. So I'm going to right-click on that. I'm going to click Copy. I'm going to go back, go to my Wrath of Cronos folder, right-click, and click Paste. And there we go. Now we have the Heretic IWAD in our Wrath of Cronos folder. So the next step we need to do is to download GZDoom. This is a source port. It's essentially the engine that's going to run Wrath of Cronos with Heretic. So I already have the web page we need pulled up right here, actually. And again, if you go to the description below, you should see all the links you need in order to get to this website or any of the websites in this tutorial. So this is the GZDoom website, so you should be able to find it right there in the description below. So I'm in the downloads section, and as you can see here, there's a link to version 1.8.02. That's the most recent version as of this recording. So we're going to right-click on this link. We're going to go to Save Link As, and we're going to save this zip file that you see here that we've pulled up into our Wrath of Cronos folder. I mean, you don't have to save it there, but I'm going to do it just for the sake of demonstration. So there we go. Now the file's downloading. This file is about 2.8 megabytes large, so it may take a few seconds or a few minutes depending on how fast your internet speed is. But anyway, it's all finished now, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go back to my Wrath of Cronos folder. So here's the file we just downloaded, this ZDoom zip file. So here's all the contents of that zip file. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all these files in that zip file and we're going to put them into our Wrath of Cronos folder. And there you go. So now we have GZDoom and we have Heretic. So now we have Heretic and GZDoom in our Wrath of Cronos folder. So we have the source port, the engine to run the game, and we have the core file for Heretic. Now the next step, of course, is downloading Wrath of Cronos. So I also have that website pulled up. This is the Xandronum forums. This is one of two places that Wrath of Cronos is hosted at. This is the one I prefer to go to because it seems to be updated more frequently. As you can see here, it's the top post on this particular thread. Wrath of Cronos this is the guy who created it. And as you can see here, there's all these links here that have, these are all the links to the files in order to run the game, and run the mod, that is to say. So, you'll notice here, the top file is Get Wrath of Cronos 1.6c. That's the most recent version of the mod as of this recording, so we'll definitely need this file. So I'm going to right-click on this link, click on Save Link As. As you can see, Wrath of Cronos R1_6c.pk3. We're going to save this file into our Wrath of Cronos folder. There we go. Now then, since we're running this mod with Heretic, we're going to need two additional files in order to get the game working properly. We're going to need the Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch, and we're also going to need the Wrath of Cronos Heretic patch. So let's go ahead and download those. We'll right-click on this link here, the not Hexen patch. There we go, Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch.pk3. Let's save that to our Wrath of Cronos folder. And now we have the Heretic patch. So we right-click on that, save link as. Give it a moment here. There we go. Wrath of Cronos Heretic patch 1_6b.pk3. Let's save that to our Wrath of Cronos folder. And there we go. Now we have all the core files of Wrath of Cronos. We have Heretic, we have GZDoom, and we have these three new files here. So now we have everything we need to run the mod. The last step, what I like to do, is create a batch file in order to run the mod. Now, what a batch file is in layman's terms, it's essentially a file that tells your computer to run a certain program with certain parameters. It may sound complicated, but I'll make it really easy for you. All you got to do, so check this out. You just got to you're in your Wrath of Cronos folder, you right-click, go to New, go to Text Document. Now we have a new text document. Let's call it Wrath of Cronos Heretic. You can call it whatever you want, like I said, but we'll just call it that for demonstration purposes. So we'll open up this text document, and again, I'm going to make this real simple. All you got to do is type in what you're about to see. So check it out. GZ Doom. Hang on. Okay. GZ Doom. Okay, so we have that. Space, file, Wrath of Cronos, R1_6C.pk3. Now what we're doing is we're basically typing in these file names here, as you can see. So one way to make this easier, these are pretty long file names, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on it, click rename, hold down Control, press C, and then hold down Control and press V, and there you go. I've pasted that long file name right here, .pk3. I'm going to do the same with this one. So again, right click, click on rename, hold down Control on your keyboard, press the C key, go back to the notepad, hold down Control, press the V key, and you paste that file name right in there. That just saves you time typing things in. It makes sure you don't type in any mistakes, you don't misspell anything. So again, what we're doing is we're going to launch GZ Doom, and we're telling it to load these files. This file here, this file here, and this file here, which again corresponds to these 3 files that we just downloaded. Now the last step, after you type in that, space dash iwad heretic.wad. That's telling GZ Doom to launch Heretic. As you can see here, we had that file in our folder. It's still supposed to be there. So again, so just to recap, we have a text file, we've typed in GZ Doom, we've typed in dash file, so we're telling GZ Doom to load these 3 files, this one, and this one. And again, those are those not Hexen patch there, as you can see. This is the Wrath of Cronos Heretic patch. And again, make sure you're typing in .pk3. So you can, again, you can always just right click, click rename, hold down Control, press C, and you can always just copy and paste these right into there. Let's just do that real quick just to make it simple. Alright, so we've copied this one. Hold down Control, press V. Wrath of Cronos, there we go, we have that one up. Now, let's do the next one. Wrath of Cronos, not Hexen patch. Rename, Control C, Control V, .pk3. And the last one, rename, Control C, Control V, .pk3. There you go. So yeah, we're telling it to load all those files, and then we want to run the iwad, heretic.wad. So, now that we have all that in place, the next thing we want to do is go to File, Save As. Now notice down here it says .txt, right? What we want to do is delete that txt and type in BAT instead. So we click Save. And notice there's a new file that just appeared in our folder. So let's close this out. We can even delete this text file now. So now we have a batch file, and this batch file will run Heretic with GZ Doom with all of these Wrath of Cronos files. So essentially, all you gotta do is just double click on this file or press enter on it, and you will launch GZ Doom with Heretic with Wrath of Cronos. So it's just a one-step. Now that you've done all that, all you gotta do is just click on this and you're in the game with Wrath of Cronos. It's just that simple. So, and if you ever make a mistake, you can always right-click on this batch file and go to Edit. Let's say you accidentally mistyped something. Maybe you accidentally forgot the C in Heretic, or maybe you added that little thing there. Just, you know, you can just correct your mistakes. Just make sure you click Save when you're done correcting your mistakes. And you can always edit that batch file. So there you go. That's how you run Wrath of Cronos with Heretic. Alright, and finally, I'm now going to show you how to install Wrath of Cronos with Strife. Now, unlike the other games in this tutorial, Strife unfortunately is not available on Steam. It's kind of a tough game to find, especially if you're not living in the US. In fact, if you're not living in the US, I am not quite sure exactly where you can find it online. Your best bet might be to check eBay or Amazon.com and see if you can buy a hard copy of it, a disc version of it. However, if you're living in the United States, you can actually go to Amazon.com, and there's a digital download version of Strife, as you can see here. It's only $5.90, it's like $4.99. You can just buy it right here, you can download a digital copy, and you got the game. So that's all you really need. So that's how you get Strife, basically. Again, it'd be great if they put this on Steam. Maybe one day they will, but for the time being, this is how you get Strife. Either, if you're not in the United States, you're going to have to go on eBay or something else to just find a copy of it somewhere. Or if you're in the United States, you can buy it digitally and just have the game right then and there. Anyway, so Of course, I already own a copy of Strife, so I'm just going to assume you already own a copy of Strife in some fashion. You have the disc, or maybe you have it installed on your computer. Either way. So again, this tutorial is assuming you have a copy of Strife and you want to run Wrath of Cronos with it. So let's start off by, this is my hard drive here. I'm going to start by creating a new folder on my computer. So I'm going to right click, go to new folder. I'm going to call that folder Wrath of Cronos. You can call that folder whatever you like. I'm just calling it Wrath of Cronos for demonstration purposes. Now then, if you have a copy of Strife, you're going to need two files in order to get this mod working properly. One is the Strife iWAD file. I actually have a Strife folder right here. The Strife iWAD file is called strife1.wad. This is the core central file that is required to run Strife with anything, whether you're playing the original Strife game, vanilla style, whether you're trying to get Strife to run with a source port, and especially if you're trying to get Strife to run with this mod, you're going to need this file right here. This is the most important file in order to run the game. So let's go ahead and right-click on it. This is my Strife folder. I'm going to right-click on it and hit copy. Go back to my Wrath of Cronos folder, right-click, and paste. And there we go. Now I have strife1.wad in my Wrath of Cronos folder. Okay, so you may also know, if you've played Strife before, that there is some voiceovers in Strife. Like, you know, when you're talking to people, some people have actually have like voices like recorded. That's all contained in a separate file, actually. That file is called voices.wad, as you can see right here. This should be included if you have the disc version of Strife, or if you downloaded it off of that website I just showed you. This file should be included in that whole package. So all you got to do is take this file here, voices.wad is the name of the file. You right-click on it, copy, go back to your Wrath of Cronos folder, and paste. Now, of course, you don't have to have this file in order to run Strife. This is the only file you absolutely have to have, strife1.wad. However, I mean, with today's day and age, I mean, the whole reason they separated this, if I understand correctly, is some computers didn't really have that powerful of sound cards or speakers, so they gave you the option to disable voiceovers if you wanted. However, again, I don't think it's necessary to exclude it. I think might as well have the full package of Strife, right? So let's just go ahead and keep both of these files. So we have voices.wad for the voiceovers, and the core file, strife1.wad. So now we have those two files in our Wrath of Cronos folder. Now then, next step is to download GZDoom. This is a source port. Basically, it'll serve as the engine that will run Wrath of Cronos with Strife. So I already have that file or website pulled up here. This is GZDoom. And again, if you look in the description below, I will include links to this website, so you can just jump right into it and download this file. So we're in the downloads section of GZDoom, and as you can see, here's the link, version 1.8.02. We're going to right-click on this link and click Save As. And here we are. Here's the zip file for GZDoom. Let's go ahead and just save this into the Wrath of Cronos folder. You don't have to, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of demonstration. This file is only about 2.8 megabytes, so hopefully it won't take too long. It could take only a few seconds or maybe a couple minutes. Again, that depends on your internet connection. But anyway, it's done downloading for me, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Go back to my Wrath of Cronos folder. Now again, here's GZDoom. This is the file we just downloaded. Here's all the files contained in that zip file. Let's move all of those into the Wrath of Cronos folder. Boom. There we go. Go ahead and close that out. I'm going to go ahead and delete that file too, that zip file we just downloaded. Okay, so now we have GZDoom, we have Strife, we have the voices WAD so we can hear the narration during the game. So now all we need to do is download Wrath of Cronos, right? So I already have that website pulled up as well. This is Xandronum. This is the forum post for Wrath of Cronos. This is one of two places that the mod is hosted at. This is the one I prefer to go to because it just seems to be updated more frequently, and it just seems that, I don't know, this is the one I prefer. And you'll notice here, this is a forum post, this is a forum thread, and the top post on this thread is made by the guy who created the mod, and you'll notice all these links here. These are all the files required to run Wrath of Cronos, or at least depending on which game you're running. We're trying to run it with Strife, so you can see here it says Strife patch. But of course, before we get that, first we need to get the core Wrath of Cronos file right here. Get Wrath of Cronos 1.6c here. This is the most recent version of the mod as of this recording. So I'm going to right-click on this link, click Save Link As, and here we are, Wrath of Cronos R1_6c.pk3. I'm going to save that into the Wrath of Cronos folder. So there we go. Now, the next step, since we're not running the mod with Hexen, we're going to need 2 additional files in order to get to work with Strife. You'll notice here there's a file that says Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch, so we're going to need that. I'm going to right click on that link, save link as, save that to our Wrath of Cronos folder. As you can see, Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch. I'm going to save that. And then, of course, we need the Strife patch, as you can see here. I'm going to right click on that link, save link as. There we go. Wrath of Cronos Strife patch 1_6c.pk3. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And there we go. All those files are now downloaded. So, back to the Wrath of Cronos folder, we have strife1.wad, the core file for Strife. We have voices.wad, the narration for it. We have the voiceovers, basically. We have gzdoom, the source port. We have also all of the Wrath of Cronos files. So now we have everything we need to run Wrath of Cronos with Strife. The last step is to create a batch file. At least that's what I like to do. A batch file, in layman's terms, essentially tells your computer to run a program with certain parameters. That might sound a little complicated, but I'm going to make it very easy for you. So check this out. We're in the Wrath of Cronos folder. We right-click, go to New, go to Text Document. Let's call this text document Wrath of Cronos Strife. Why not? It doesn't have to be called that. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it that for demonstration purposes. So we open up this text document, and again, I'm going to make this real simple. So just all you got to do is type in the following. gzdoom space dash file Wrath, I can type, Wrath of Cronos r1_6c.pk3. Now, that might seem familiar. That's because that's this file here. Wrath of Cronos r16_c.pk3. So we're basically going to tell gzdoom to load this. But well, let's keep it simple though. Okay, so we type that in. One thing you can do is, since some of these file names are really long, let's right click on this one, go to rename, press Control on your keyboard, and then press C. You want to hold down Control and then press C. Go back to your text file here, hold down Control now that you've done that, and press V, and you can just paste that file name right in here, and then make sure you add .pk3. Let's do the same with this one. So again, right-click, rename, hold down Control, press C, go back to the text file, hold down Control, press V, and there you go. It's pasted right in there. That way you don't have to type in these long file names. You might misspell something. It just makes sure that it ensures that you type in everything correctly. It makes it much simpler if you just, you just got to do a couple clicks, a couple of key presses, and you're in. So, the last thing we need to do is, the next step is add in voices.wad. So, that's this file here, voices.wad. So again, basically what we're doing is we're telling your computer to launch gzdoom and load these following files. Wrath of Cronos not Hexen, Wrath of Cronos Strife, and the voices WAD so we can hear the narration. Now the last step, space dash iwad space strife1.wad. That tells the engine to run Strife, basically. So again, just the recap. We have a text document here. We've typed in gzdoom, that's to open this program, gzdoom.exe. We've told gzdoom to run Strife, so we typed in strife1.wad, and we're also telling gzdoom, while it's at it, to load this Wrath of Cronos file, this Wrath of Cronos not Hexen patch, this Wrath of Cronos Strife patch, and the voices WAD that comes with Strife, so we can hear voiceovers and narrations as we're talking to people in the game. So now that we've typed in all of that stuff, we go to File, Save As, and now down here, notice it says .txt, right? What we're going to do is delete txt and type in bat, and we're going to save that. Now notice a new file just popped up in our folder. Let's go ahead and close out this text file. In fact, we can delete this text file now if we want. So now we have a batch file in our Wrath of Cronos folder, and by double-clicking on this batch file, it will launch gzdoom with Strife and load all these files plus this one. And again, just so you make sure you understand. So again, this is the command that we've told our computer to do. Launch this program with these files with this game. So once you've typed in all that stuff and you save it and turn it into a batch file, you just got to double click on this file here and you're in the game. So that now you have a nice convenient way to launch Strife with Wrath of Cronos. It's just that you can make this a shortcut on your desktop or whatever you want to do. You can just right click, create shortcut. And you can put this shortcut wherever you want. So there you go. That's how you run Wrath of Cronos with Strife. And there you go. So that's how you run Wrath of Cronos with all of its compatible games. Thank you very much for watching. This was a really big experiment for me. So I'd appreciate any comments, feedback. I want to make sure all of this made sense, so please leave comments below. If you have any questions about any of these instructions, about any of these games, please feel free to message me or write in the comments. I will help you make sure that all of this makes sense. And again, I would love some feedback to make sure this tutorial made sense to you. Please like and subscribe. And again, thanks for watching. I hope this helps you run Wrath of Cronos. I hope you have fun with the mod. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Alright, later.